It's the 7th of October, 2023.
Everyone knows the drill, code red. As soon as you hear it, you just go to the safe room.
Israel awakens to the worst terrorist attack in its 75-year history.
It felt like someone hated us deeply and wanted to murder us.
They threw a gas grenade. My first thought was, oh my God, I'm gonna die like a Jew in the Holocaust.
Hamas's murder spree is followed by Israel's revenge. Since the 7th of October, nothing is as it used to be.
After seeing what they did to us that day, it became personal. I feel they took my empathy away.
قدم عدل 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 اطلع 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 اهدى اهدى روح عدل 3 كيلو يلا يسعد دينك يا راجل يلا وحش والله انك وحش روح
Tel Aviv, the 6th of October 2023. Since Israel was founded in 1948, the country has faced hostile neighbors. But today, on the eve of a Jewish religious festival, all seems quiet. The population safe, the borders secure.
I moved from Brazil, São Paulo. I visited Israel in 2019 for like a month, and I fell in love with the place, with the people, with the security, because in Brazil, in São Paulo, it's a little bit dangerous. We have a lot of crime, and when I got here in Israel, I felt very safe.
Rafaela finished school in Israel. In September 2023, she met Renani, a fellow Brazilian-born Israeli.
First time I saw him, I fell in love with him, and he fell in love with me. It's something that even today I don't believe that I lived, because it was a love so intense and so pure and so healthy that I feel like I was living in a movie, in a romance movie. He was a delivery food guy. He was a simple guy. He didn't need much to be happy.
Lindo again.
Renani asks Rafaela to come along to the Nova Music Festival. It's a rave dedicated to peace and love.
He asked me if I wanted to join, and I decided that I wanted to go because it sounded really great. I'd never been to a rave before.
The exact location of the rave is announced only a few hours before it starts. It's in the south of the country, very close to the heavily protected and closely surveyed border between Israel and Gaza. On the other side is the Gaza Strip, home to nearly 2.4 million people. Many of them are refugees or descendants of refugees from at least 6 wars fought between Arabs and Israelis since 1948. The Gaza Strip is tightly controlled by Hamas, a political and military movement. Elected in 2006, it has ruled the territory with dictatorial powers ever since. Its declared enemy is the State of Israel, which they regard an illegitimate occupying power. Ahmad Abdel Hadi is a Hamas spokesman in Beirut.
نحن حماس حركة تحرر وطني. قيادة الحركة هي المعنية بمثل هيك قرارات ذات طابع استراتيجي، نعم. بغض النظر أن القيادة العسكرية هي المعنية بالتنفيذ ومتابعة التفاصيل الميدانية.
Hamas has been designated a terrorist organization by 61 countries. At regular intervals, Hamas militants fire rockets into Israel. Most of them are intercepted by Israel's Iron Dome anti-missile shield. One of those guarding the fenced-off Israeli-Gazan border on the Israeli side is Eden Haynes. On the 6th of October, only a reduced number of soldiers are on duty. Many have gone home for the Jewish holiday. But even with skeleton crews, Israelis have great trust in the border's state-of-the-art border defense systems. Re'im military base is the largest along Gaza's border.
The fact my army base was so close to Gaza never concerned me. I never felt like my life was ever in danger, although we were bombed a few times.
Eden works in air traffic control.
I work in a war room. We have shifts 24/7. So my day doesn't really start like as a day. It just kind of like is a week that just kind of never ends.
Recently, Eden has been noticing unusual events at the border near her base.
The month leading up to the 7th of October, there was a lot of instances where Gaza civilians would stand by the border and throw rocks. Just like riots, it actually got pretty crazy. They would sometimes even threaten like soldiers' lives. My friend that was in surveillance told her commanders that there was something out of the ordinary. Not much was done about it. She even told her friends something weird is happening, something's up, and it's not something we've known before. Not in our wildest dreams would we imagine this.
On the 6th of October, a few kilometers to the northeast of the military base, Rafaela arrives at the rave she's been invited to by her boyfriend Renani, the Nova Festival.
When I arrived, I was surprised of what I was seeing. We were in the middle of nowhere, and there's a huge area with a lot of trees where people put their tents and their camping site there. And I just looked around and saw a lot of lights and a lot of people happy. It was an amazing night. It was the most amazing party. I mean, the Nova was once in a lifetime experience. We were super happy and in love and just feeling this vibe. And then the sun is rising and everyone is happy and looking around, and I would see people just smiling ear to ear and laughing and talking and dancing and just, oh my God, the day is beginning and it's such a beautiful day. And then suddenly the music stopped. We started hearing a lot of rockets and seeing a lot of rockets in the sky.
50 lives in Israel. I'm lying down, and everyone is lying down because Gaza is fucking bombing us.
At Re'im military camp, Eden's border unit comes under fire.
6:30 in the morning, we heard the rockets. No one has experienced the amount of rockets that were fired on that day. So we ran to the bomb shelter.
Israelis are used to rocket and missile attacks, but today is different. Thousands of armed Hamas members breached the barrier separating Gaza from Israel. Dozens paraglide over the border under the cover of rockets. The Iron Dome is useless against enemy forces on the ground. Because much of the Israeli military is on leave, the attackers have an almost free rein. Armed men head towards Israeli settlements, including the kibbutz Kfar Aza, 2 kilometers from the border. Kfar Aza is one of the country's 270 kibbutzim, or communal settlements. It was founded in 1951 by Jews expelled from Egypt and Morocco. Human rights worker Ziv Stahl now lives and works in Tel Aviv, but she grew up in Kfar Aza. She decides to spend the holiday with her family in the kibbutz, although the proximity of the border makes her nervous.
I was worried about what's going on in Kfar Aza in the recent 20 years, I would say. There has been a lot of incidents of firing missiles and bombshells. I used to be very nervous about going to visit. Actually, my family keeps laughing at me that I was so careful all the time that I didn't go every time there was even hint of an escalation. I would avoid from visiting. And this time I actually came and I got the worst. There was a lot of bombing sounds and a siren, which in Kfar Aza it's not really a siren. It's a voice calling and saying code red.
In Israel's border region near Gaza, every house has a fortified safe room where people can shelter if there are missile attacks.
We hurried all of us to the safe room. My brother-in-law, my sister, one of my nieces, and the dog, and me. I think after about 20 minutes, there was silence, and we left the safe room because we didn't have coffee even. And I'm a smoker, so sadly. So I went outside and sat on the balcony to have a smoke. And I heard distant shooting, but I thought since it was Saturday morning, very quiet, that it comes from the fence. It wasn't close in any way. But soon enough, there was another siren, and I got up and ran to the safe room. My brother-in-law was behind me, also going to the safe room, and he said, there are terrorists in the kibbutz.
يا شباب خش يا شباب يا شباب الله أكبر والعزة للإسلام والمسلمين تمكنوا من رقاب المجاهدين والمقاتلين طاهر يا حاج.
We didn't know the scale of it at all.
Many of southern Israel's kibbutzim are experiencing similar intrusions. Hamas fighters are breaking through security gates and are making their way towards people's homes. They film everything to upload to their social media channels. This large-scale attack on military and civilian targets seems to catch Israeli security forces by complete surprise. Even though 3 weeks prior to the attack, Hamas had posted a training video preparing for exactly that scenario.
لكن عندما قررت الحركة بأن تخوض هذه المعركة في 7 أكتوبر بالتأكيد كان هناك إعداد خاص. حركة حماس كان لديها نقاط مراقبة على الحدود مع أراضينا المحتلة من شمال غزة إلى جنوبها.
For years, Israel's right-wing governments had been holding indirect negotiations with Hamas via Egypt and had allowed Hamas to receive money from abroad. It was a strategy to divide Gaza from the West Bank and prevent the establishment of a Palestinian state. It gave Israel a false sense of security. Yohanan Tsoref is a long-standing Israeli intelligence and military insider. He is as surprised by the attack as the rest of the Israeli intelligence community.
Since 2009, since the 7th of October, there wasn't a serious attempt to begin any kind of negotiation between Israel and the Palestinians. The idea Hamas is afraid of entering to another confrontation with Israel was very dominant in the Israeli intelligence. Also, the feelings that our technology can reach to everything, we can know everything before even they are thinking about it. We were arrogant here. Hamas read the situation in Israel in a very correct way. They also had a lot of intelligence means to understand how we behave and what we are doing. So they prepared very well for this day.
That morning, 3,000 armed terrorists enter Israel. In Kibbutz Mefalsim, 3 kilometers from the border with Gaza. Yarden Reskin, a landscape architect and member of the security team, is jolted into action.
We started to understand that something is different because the sirens didn't stop. Then we had a very heavy burst of gunfire and a big explosion. I am part of the security team of the kibbutz, so I opened my cell phone and saw a message from our chief. He was fired at in the main gate of the kibbutz. I wasn't really understanding, but I took my weapon. I thought, 10 minutes I'm coming back, it's probably nothing. I immediately heard another burst of gunfire. I was walking very fast, but trying to be as tactical as I can. I got to a parking lot that oversees the fence of the kibbutz, and I see about 12 terrorists. The terrorists blew up a small gate for pedestrians and came running in. They ran to where we have the milking complex of the cows, and they took 12 Thai workers hostages. Until now, I don't really know who was it that fired at them, but 2 or 3 terrorists were hit, one ran away, and the Thai people, we rescued them back into the kibbutz.
Meanwhile, Rafaela and her boyfriend Renani have left the Nova Festival. They hide from the missiles in a bomb shelter on the side of Road 232.
We were talking and laughing and just being super chill about it because there was nothing to worry about because we were already inside of the shelter, so we're protected from the rockets. Then a lot of the people from the party started to come inside of the shelter, and in a place that is basically a meter to a meter, we became 40 people. And we started to get a little panicked just because we were in a confined space. We just tried to stay as calm as we could, just waiting for the rockets to pass and like, oh my God, I just want the rockets to pass, I want to get out of here. And I had to go to the bathroom, and then we started hearing gunshots from the outside of the shelter.
Unbeknownst to Rafaela and Renani, the festival site and surrounding area are overrun by Hamas gunmen. The terrorists are killing and kidnapping festival goers indiscriminately. Some are raped. Other victims are hunted down to the roadside bomb shelters.
The police officer that was in the outside of the shelter, we heard them killing her. Everyone that was inside panicked. People started telling each other, please quiet down, just stay quiet. They still don't know that we are inside. In the meanwhile, they were throwing a lot of RPGs on the shelter, and we were hearing a lot of booms, and they were screaming and celebrating and laughing and screaming the famous phrase, Allahu Akbar, and we were just getting super panicked.
The scenes at Rafaela's bomb shelter are repeated across the area. Many shelters have become death traps.
They threw inside of the shelter the first gas grenade. In less than 1 minute, we couldn't breathe whatsoever. I couldn't get air inside. My mom's family, they all unfortunately died in the Holocaust. The first thing that came to my mind was, oh my God, I'm gonna die like a Jew in the Holocaust. How is that happening now?
Meanwhile, many partygoers are stuck on the roads leading out of the Nova Festival.
Danielle and Noam were together for 6 years. They were like an amazing couple. They really loved each other. They did everything together. Danielle, she was like an amazing, amazing girl. And she took care of everybody. She wasn't afraid of anything.
Danielle is the youngest child of tech entrepreneur Eyal Waltman, who employed 230 Palestinians, including engineers from Gaza, in his companies. He is abroad when he hears that Danielle and her boyfriend Noam were at the rave. Danielle is not answering her phone.
And then it's more serious because Danielle always is responsible and answers the phone.
Eyal tries to piece together their movements after the attack started.
So they came out of the party while they were running. Danielle saw a girl that was hit and she stopped to help that girl. And she didn't leave that girl until she knew that someone else was taking care of her, and then they ran to the car. They were able to get from the party parking to Road 232.
Road 232 links the southern kibbutzim, which run alongside the Gaza border. It has become a killing ground. Mefalsim sits right on that road.
I went out of the kibbutz gate to see what's going on the road, if there's something that we can help or do. The pictures that everyone saw of the road littered with cars and dead people, it was obvious there is nothing to do. And one of our guys said, let's go back in because we look like the terrorists. We had black vests. We were very afraid that somebody may be seeing us and thinking terrorists still alive.
At Re'im military base, Hamas are in the compound, battling with Israeli units. Eden is in a bomb shelter.
We didn't have any weapons because that's not our responsibility. I was trying to be calm and collected. There was also some moments where we heard non-stop bombs of any sort. It was a helicopter shooting, it was hand grenades, it was any type of bomb that you can imagine right outside our bomb shelter. And there was a few moments where I hear like these quiet steps and you hear like Arabic outside, and that's when you were like, that's my end. My friends did call their parents and tell them they loved them. I just knew my parents wouldn't answer because we're religious. Their phones were off.
Kfar Aza, too, is now in the hands of Hamas terrorists. Ziv and her family sense that the terrorists are approaching.
My brother-in-law was on the outside of the safe room. He was lying on the floor with the gun, and we were in the safe room trying to keep quiet, trying to keep the dog from barking. There was a gunfire shot very close and very loud. Three of us freaking out, not really knowing what's going on, if there's someone in the house.
Ziv's niece Ori and her boyfriend Sivan arrived from another part of the kibbutz. He was shot through the door of their safe room while trying to hold it closed.
The safe room is supposed to protect you from missiles and bombing, not from a terror attack. It has no lock on the door, as we learned on the 7th of October. He was injured in both of his hands. I called the police, trying to get him evacuated to a hospital and to serious Medicare. And they kind of told me right from the beginning, no one will come. Like they said, we cannot enter. They told me, that's the situation, deal with it.
Come with me. Come with me. Talk to him to open the door. Call him.
Throughout the south, people are left to fend for themselves. The internet is flooded with footage filmed by the terrorists.
After seeing what they did to us that day and the joy that we saw on the social media, it struck a chord because these weren't all armed terrorists. There were people in crutches coming over. There were people in sandals coming over. Kids coming over.
The police and security forces are battling to repel the terrorists. Until they do, the festival goers hiding in bomb shelters are sitting ducks.
They just started throwing one thing after the other. So they started by the gas grenade, and then normal ones, and then shrapnel grenades, and then small equipment that generates heat so that people would go outside. Molotov cocktails, they would wait for all of the smoke to go down, and then they would go inside 2 to 3 terrorists at a time and just shoot everyone that was alive. Some people that were more to the front of the shelter told me that a girl was taken and that they raped her and then killed her.
Rafaela is still haunted by the memories of October the 7th. She and her boyfriend Renani had been the first ones to enter the shelter. After several hours, they were in the furthest corner from the entrance of the packed room.
We have bodies on us of people that died. They're protecting us. And I just stay there with him, close to me, like glued to me. Then the terrorists, they built a fireplace where the door is supposed to be, and they started burning a lot of the bodies, and a lot of the people trying to run outside, and we would hear them screaming and getting shot. They were having so much fun with it. It was sick to hear that and to look at that. They were just enjoying that so much. At the beginning, I was preparing myself to like get shot. And then after a while, I started seeing that because of the smoke and the smell, they didn't want to get inside anymore. And I understood that it would just pass out and not wake up at some point. So I kind of made my peace with it, and I would just think to myself, oh my God, how long does it take to someone to suffocate to death?
Rafaela's boyfriend, Renani, decides he can't stay inside the shelter anymore.
He told me that he knew his time came and that he had to at least try to do something. And that's when he left. I didn't say what happened to him then. And I would say, Hanani, babe, are you here? Where are you? Of course, I wouldn't get an answer.
Hours later, the terrorists have gone. It's safe for Rafaela to leave the shelter.
I was inside of a very dark place for a long time. Suddenly, I see a lot of light and I can open my eyes, and I was looking for Hanani. So I saw him laying down on the floor. The only thing that I could get out of my mouth was Hanani died. I would scream at him and say, Hanani's dead, Hanani's dead, he died, I think he died, he died, he died, he died, right? Just repeatedly.
After hours of delay, the Israeli police and military arrive in force. They gradually manage to get the upper hand across Israel's border region. At Re'im military base, after 10 hours in the bomb shelter, Eden is rescued.
It felt like the end of the world, and like there would be nothing left from my base or from like anything around it, because it was so like relentless bombings. So when I first popped my head out, I was really surprised to see that there was still things standing. The skies were blue, birds chirping. I remember seeing like a line of soldiers. They just told us like, okay, the terrorists are on your left, just run. And we did.
Eden makes it to a military war room, where she resumes her air traffic control duties. The tide is starting to turn. At Kfar Aza, the army and special police forces are closing in on the militants.
אתה ישראלי? בוא חלון תבוא, מהר. תעלה לג'יפ, פה היה RPG.
But several more hours pass before Ziv and her family are rescued.
Altogether, we were in the safe room for more than 14 hours. We were all in pyjama. And they took us out of the kibbutz. The smell was horrible. I think that's when we first realized that this is like something else, nothing we've seen before. It smelled like fire and gunfire, and the noises were horrible.
As her niece's boyfriend, Sivan, gets medical attention, Ziv realizes that they are lucky to be alive. Among the more than 50 murdered people is Ziv's sister-in-law, Mira.
For me, she's another sibling, another sister, and her loss is horrible for all of us.
It takes the army more than 20 hours to clear Kfar Aza of terrorists. Hamas tries to justify the attack.
ولذلك عندما نقوم بفعل مثل 7 أكتوبر هذا من حقنا لأننا مقاومة وهناك احتلال. الرواية الإسرائيلية أن حماس ارتكبت مجازر وقتلت الأطفال واغتصبت النساء لا تستند. ما حصل كان موجها باتجاه الجنود الإسرائيليين. بعد ما انتهت كتائب القسام من تنفيذ العملية، دخلت الناس من غزة إلى الأماكن اللي كانت محل اشتباكات، ويمكن هناك أن يحصل بعض الأخطاء.
Hamas kills 1,200 people during the terrorist attack and injures scores more. The harrowing body cam and video footage taken by the perpetrators and uploaded to Hamas's social media channels makes denials sound hollow.
The fact that they had the party very close to the Gaza border is not smart. It's a huge mistake.
Eyal and a friend, an army general, arrive at the place of his daughter Danielle's murder 2 days later to reconstruct what happened.
They had been shot from the front, from the side, and from the back.
נרטיב שהכדורים פה ופה מתחילות הזכוכיות, אתה רואה?
כן. הוא ממשיך לראות.
זה לא הוא, לדעתי...
זה כמה?
תרמילים, יש פה לפחות 2 אם לא 3.
הנה, פה יש לך עוד ירי, תראה עדה אותו. The car was full of bullets, and the airbags were deployed. It was full of blood. אבל פה כבר אין.
פה יש לנו כדור, אתה יודע, אחד בודדים פה.
אז יכול להיות שהם...
לא, הם ראו שהם כולם גמורים, אתה רואה את זה.
What Danielle told me, I think about 2 weeks before they were murdered, that she's thinking of marrying Noam. And instead of having a wedding, we had a funeral where we buried them together. It's very painful. It's extremely painful. You feel like you're missing something. It's you wake up with this, you go to sleep with this. It's very painful. It's almost unbearable.
Fighting between Israeli security forces and terrorists continues for more than 48 hours. After the area is secured, the toll of the attack becomes clear. In addition to the 1,200 people who have been murdered, 252 have been taken to Gaza as hostages. They are to be exchanged for Palestinians in Israeli prisons. Israelis question how it could have come to this.
The big mistake is a political mistake. We are talking about more than 15 years of no engagement with the Palestinians, of no negotiation with the Palestinians. The Israeli rightist government didn't really want to promote or to push forward a political solution. And we here in our institute said a lot of time, you can't ignore the Palestinian issue because the price will be very, very high. Hamas, they raped our daughters. They killed our people. So Israel has never felt so humiliated as it was in the 7th of October.
The survivors are coming to terms with what has happened.
I had a very strong feeling that, like, I knew I was going to be a different person. Like, there was the person before, the person after, because my core beliefs have changed drastically. That, like, basic feeling of knowing that nothing's going to happen to you is gone. I don't feel safe, basically, ever, like, because there's no promise that I'm not going to be attacked again.
Hanani was the most amazing person I've ever met. I never met a person that is so kind and so genuine and so light and filled with love and empathy. And all of the time that I spent with him was just a blessing, and I'm thankful every day for every day that I spent with him and for every moment that we spent together.
Israel's bombing of Gaza begins on the 7th of October. It intensifies in the days that follow. Images of displaced, injured, and dead Palestinians become commonplace. Israel says it seeks to hit Hamas, hiding in tunnels under residential and civilian buildings.
I feel they took my empathy away. If I had empathy for, women or children or uninvolved people, now I don't. After seeing what they did to us that day, it became personal. It became against me, against my kids, my wife.
Danielle thought that we can have peace with the Palestinians. And unfortunately, she was murdered by them. And now we have two options. We have the option of continue killing each other or learning to live together in a synergistic way.
I don't think there is any justification to the killing of civilians and to kidnapping civilians, but I do see the attack as part of a larger situation and context, which is Israeli occupation. I don't need any revenge in my name, at least, and I definitely feel really scared about the future, because I think Israel is leading a policy which only will lead us to many, many years and generations of loss and grief and revenge.
While the Israeli bombs fall on Gaza, 250 hostages remain in captivity. Hamas wants to exchange them for 5,000 Palestinians held in Israeli prisons. It will result in one of the worst hostage crises in recent history. Southern Israel, on the 7th of October 2023. Members of Hamas and other terrorist organizations kidnap over 250 people. They take them to the Gaza Strip.
To be kidnapped, to be held in Gaza by the Hamas. That's the worst case scenario every Jewish person can ever dream.
The Israeli government says they'll bring home all the hostages.
I'm just a mother that wants her son back.
But it also vows to destroy Hamas for killing over 1,200 people during the 7th of October raid.
We will exact a price that will be remembered by them for decades to come.
This is an account of the worst hostage crisis in modern times, told by those caught up in it. Nir Oz was founded in 1955. on orchards of an abandoned Palestinian village. Its residents had fled to Gaza during the War of 1948. It is one of the country's 270 kibbutzim, communal settlements that are specific to Israel.
It used to be a very happy place and very beautiful, very close-knit community, a lot of people who raised their kids together. We felt that it was a very safe place. My husband was born on the kibbutz. Aviv grew up going to the beach in Gaza.
More than 50 years ago, a barrier was put up between Israel and Gaza. Its aim is to control the movements of goods and people. Upgraded and expanded since, the Iron Wall divides affluent Israel from the impoverished Palestinian territory. At 6:30 in the morning on the 7th of October, a Jewish holiday, 3,000 terrorists belonging to Hamas and other armed groups break through the 60-kilometer-long border barrier between Israel and Gaza. The terrorists soon arrive in Kibbutz near Oz, 3 kilometers from the Gaza border. Hot on the heels of the militants are hundreds of civilians who come to loot and lend a hand. The kibbutz is soon overrun. Liat Adzili is left in her safe room, while her husband, Aviv, goes out with his gun to defend the kibbutz.
A young teenage Palestinian came in and asked for money. I'm pretty sure he was civilian. I told him I didn't have any money and that he should go away, so he left the house. But then I realized that my safe room wasn't locked.
Elsewhere in the kibbutz, militants are breaking in.
At some point, I realized that there was a fire somewhere, and I was too scared to leave the safe room and see what's going on. Then 2 armed people came into the safe room and told me to come with them. I was really, really scared.
Liat is one of 80 residents of Near Oz being abducted.
هذول مستوطنين صغار خذهم وخليهم هان بدون اذى بدون اذى لا تؤذوهم تمام 100% نتعامل بحكمه هنا الشباب مع مثل هؤلاء هذا طفل ولد يعني عمره تقريبا 10 سنوات مستوطن انه الانسانيه عندنا مش عنده ما حدا حيسيبها عشان تعرف انه الانسانيه عندنا ايوه استروها وخلوها لما تاخذوها حيه لم تعد هناك حصانه لا لغرض.
Liat leaves without her husband, Aviv, who is still out defending the kibbutz. "15 kilometers from Near Oz, a massive music festival has been underway until the arrival of Hamas terrorists. They kill 360 people and abduct dozens more. One of those on the run from the gunmen is Moran Stella Yanai, who had been selling her jewelry at the Nova Festival.
They're coming towards us, running like animals in the field, screaming Allahu Akbar with all the power. I didn't know what to do, really. Still confused. Everybody was running. And I broke my leg, and then he caught me. When he took his phone to take a video of me, I understood in a second that he will post it, that will go into TikTok, and my mother will see it.
Hamas terrorists upload the videos they film to their social media channels, almost in real time. The terror organization that has been ruling Gaza for 17 years has the destruction of Israel as its key aim. This footage is meant to impress their followers and to humiliate Israel. "200 kilometers north of Gaza, in the Israeli town of Lavon, Edith Ohel realizes that her son, Alon, has been caught up in the Hamas attack. Images of him appear on social media.
We got a footage of this, a video showing the kidnapping. We can see Alon being dragged and put on a truck. He was taken alive. He's kicking and trying to fight, but he can't, obviously. He was blood all over him, but it seems that he was moving everything. His limbs were moving, so I think he was okay. And after he was taken with the 4 others, the Hamas came in and shot everybody inside. 2 of his friends were murdered, and 2 of his friends were injured, and Alon doesn't know. I don't know what he knows, but he doesn't probably know that his friends were murdered.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. هات ابوه هات هيا سير سير.
German-Israeli Ricardo Luke, who grew up in Bavaria, is also looking at the footage uploaded onto Hamas channels.
Mein älterer Sohn hat dann ein Video bekommen und fing an zu schreien und zu heulen und hat gesagt, das ist die Shani, ich erkenne sie hat die Tätowierungen an ihren Füßen, das ist die Shani. Und wir haben uns dann alle das Video angeschaut und das war wirklich schrecklich. Wie kommt die in so eine Situation, dass die hinten bewusstlos auf so einem Truck sitzt mit bewaffneten Terroristen und in Gazastreifen einfahren und alle jubeln um sie rum, man spuckt ihr auf den Kopf, alle feiern, was da passiert sind im Gazastreifen und das ist unsere Tochter.
Meanwhile, Moran is also in a Hamas pickup truck, surrounded by armed men.
The Hamas asked me to open my eyes. He was so happy, so happy. He wanted me to see me enter into Gaza. And I always describe it as a bull going into a huge arena. And you see all the people in the crowd really happy, celebrating. I remember I saw things flying in the air. I saw one boy standing in the middle of the road, screaming, really happy.
Hamas abduct an estimated 250 people into Gaza. Kidnapping is a tried and tested strategy. In 2011, Hamas swapped one Israeli soldier, whom they'd held hostage for 5 years, Gilead Shalit, for more than 1,000 Palestinians in Israeli jails. Among them was Yahya Sinwar, 22 years into a life sentence for abduction and murder. He would go on to become the leader of Hamas in Gaza and one of the masterminds of the 7th of October. Former hostage negotiator Ori Slonim recognizes that what is happening now is hostage-taking on a whole new level.
I think that what happened in October 7 in Israel, I believe it's something like a historical event. The whole world never experienced such a hostages affair, especially with the families, is entering to a world of uncertainty. We don't know who is alive, we don't know who is dead. We don't know who is wounded.
Hamas know that the sheer number of hostages in its hands puts it in a very strong negotiating position.
في السجون الإسرائيلية قبل 7 من أكتوبر كان هناك 5,000 أسير فلسطيني. إحنا من حقنا أن نحرر أسرانا. كونه الإسرائيلي لا يمكن أن يحرر الأسرى بل يقتلهم ببطء. لذلك ما في خيار غير أنه يتم أسر صهاينة جنود وتبادل أسرى حتى نطلق سراح أسرانا من السجون.
Hamas equates the hostages with the many prisoners in Israeli jails. Their crimes include the throwing of stones to acts of terror. If they were to be released, it would be a major victory for the Hamas terrorists. Ricarda Luke, meanwhile, is scouring social media channels for any sign of her daughter, Shani.
Meine Tochter Shani ist sehr fröhlich, sehr weltoffen, sehr kreativ. Sie ist Tattoo-Künstlerin. Sie liebte immer auf die Festivals zu gehen. Sie liebt zu tanzen und Musik zu hören und sie ist da sehr aufgeschlossen. Es ist so um 4 Uhr nachmittags habe ich auf meinem Handy eine Nachricht bekommen, dass jemand versucht hat, Geld abzuheben mit der Kreditkarte von Shani und es war im Gazastreifen. Kurze Zeit danach haben wir gesagt, jetzt machen wir einen Appell über ein Video und ich habe mich dann selber aufgenommen, in allen Medien verstreut und verbreitet, so ein Hilferuf, dass unsere Shani entführt worden ist und wer uns helfen kann. Ich bitte jede Hilfe oder jede Neuigkeiten bitte zu uns schicken. Vielen Dank.
Ricarda gets word from a Palestinian source that Shani has been seen in a hospital in Gaza with a serious head injury.
Ja, also die nächsten Tage nach dem 7. Oktober waren wirklich die schrecklichsten. Jeden Tag überlegt man, okay, was passiert mit ihr? Und man macht sich andauernd Gedanken. Wir haben andauernd gehört von Vergewaltigungen und Verschändungen und Verstümmelungen von Frauen, jungen Frauen.
Because Israel won't deal directly with terrorists, negotiations are conducted via Qatari and Egyptian intermediaries. It's a long and drawn-out process. But Israel's hardline government also wants revenge for the 1,200 people murdered by Hamas on the 7th of October.
Once the Jewish people were stateless. Once the Jewish people were defenseless. No longer. Hamas will understand that by attacking us, they've made a mistake of historic proportions. we will exact a price that will be remembered by them and Israel's other enemies for decades to come.
Almost immediately, Israel starts the intense bombardment of suspected Hamas targets in Gaza. But Hamas has built a vast network of tunnels underneath Gaza's residential buildings, where it shelters from the bombardment. The civilian buildings above take the hits. The hostages are distributed all over Gaza. Khan Yunis is just 3 kilometers from Liat's home in Nir Oz, across the border fence. Liat is held in a flat. She is desperately worried.
I didn't know what had happened to my sons. I didn't know what happened to my husband. I told myself all the time that I have to be prepared for worst case scenario, that all 3 of them were dead. I was taken to an apartment where there was a woman from Nir Oz. We spent the next almost 2 months together with 2 men who were like active in Hamas. They were very, very religious, and they kept saying that it was wrong that we were taken hostage and only soldiers or people who fight should have been taken. I don't know how much of it was lies or like sort of trying to play with our minds, but I don't care. It made me feel better.
Elsewhere in Gaza, Moran is joined by an 18-year-old girl, Noah Argamani, whose kidnapping went viral on the 7th of October.
She looked so lost. She was barefoot. And then they took her to the other room. After a few hours, they took Noah and put her in the room with me, and we were not allowed to speak. We were not allowed to do anything. We were not allowed to cry. We were not allowed to think. If you stop in thinking, they literally come into you and ask you, what are you thinking about? Do not think. Not thinking? I'm just looking at the window. Do not look at the window. Okay, I will not do it.
There is an ever-present sense of threat for Moran, Noah, and fellow female hostages. Moran is subjected to so-called medical examinations.
Every day, you expect to be dead, being beaten. One day, I finished the shower, and now I'm entering my room and getting dressed. Then he's standing on the front of the door, staring at you. I don't know what to do, but what do you want? And then I said, like every day, it felt that he allows himself to do more and more, till at one point you said to yourself, let it happen. So I will be after it, you know, and not expecting to it. I had a huge luck because it did happen to other girls. I know in first hand, like I heard it from the girl, it happened.
Thousands of Gazans have already lost their lives in Israel's bombing campaign. In late October, the IDF warns the civilian population to evacuate northern Gaza ahead of further action through SMS, radio broadcasts, and leaflet drops. Israel launches a full-scale invasion of the Gaza Strip. Thousands of Palestinians have been displaced or are in transit along Gaza's main road south. But the release of 2 hostages in their 80s from Nir Oz gives hope to the families of other Israelis taken to Gaza. Ricarda has not had any news about her daughter for more than 3 weeks.
3 Wochen nach dem 7. Oktober klopft es dann an der Tür, so um 11 Uhr nachts. Und das war schon ein schlechtes Zeichen. Und ich habe die Tür aufgemacht und es waren dann 2 von der Armee dort und 2 Sozialhelferinnen. Und sie haben uns dann gesagt, dass man einen Schädelknochen von der Shani gefunden hat, also auf israelischem Land noch. Und von dem her wissen sie also mit Sicherheit, dass Shani nicht mehr am Leben war, wo sie nach Gaza entführt worden ist. In dem Moment, also einerseits sind wir so richtig zusammengebrochen, aber andererseits waren wir auch ein bisschen erleichtert, dass Shani ziemlich schnell am Anfang schon gestorben ist und sie hat nicht mehr gelitten.
The dead, too, can be used as bargaining tools by Hamas. There were dozens like Shani.
Im Judentum muss man immer den Körper ganz begraben. Und das wissen die Hamas. Die wissen ganz genau, dass es wichtig ist und dass wir wirklich viel machen werden, um die Körper zurückzubekommen.
The anxious families of the hostages start putting pressure on the government in the immediate aftermath of the attack. They feel the government is not doing enough to secure the release of the hostages, choosing to wage war on Hamas instead. Israelis are divided by Prime Minister Netanyahu's policies. They are exasperated by the apparent lack of progress in the negotiations. In November 2023, the military escalates its campaign in Gaza.
I was not at the tunnels, I was up in the houses. We're exposed to everything. One day, one of the terrorists was really getting excited that we were afraid from the bombing. So every time that was a really big bomb, he used to run to the room and smiling and say, no, don't worry, and being really happy. And I said to the girl, the next bomb, you're not moving, not a muscle. And I didn't finish the sentence, and our building was bombed. And I lost half of my hearing.
International pressure for a negotiated solution intensifies.
The negotiation is taking place mostly in Qatar, and we have very serious people who are negotiators, like the head of our Mossad, our security services, and the IDF. But they have to come back to Israel to deal with the Israeli cabinet for their mandate. They had to go back to Qatar to tell them what is next. Going back and forth, you are losing time. We are not even seeing the end of it. I think Hamas knew that we will do everything we can to assist to bring our hostages back. But I think that they didn't estimate enough, not in any term, not in any condition.
There was talk of a deal, and we were very excited about that. We tried to follow with the few minutes of TV that we watched every day, and every time that we realized that it wasn't happening, we were really disappointed. People that were holding us, that were guarding us, they wanted us to leave already too, and they were tired of having to take care of us. And then finally, the deal started.
Somebody told me that it's limited to 50 people. Really? That's how it's supposed to be? A reality show? A reality show that you want to be eliminated from?
A deal is agreed on the 25th of November 2023. There will be a 4-day pause in fighting, in which 50 hostages and 150 Palestinians are released.
The first release of hostages was release of sick people, children, very old, and I believe it was in the interest of the Hamas to release them because it's tougher to hold this kind of people in the tunnel. They wanted to get rid of them, I believe, as we wanted to get them back.
On both sides, families are jubilant, including 14-year-old Ahmed Salaimi. The teenager was arrested more than 5 months earlier and has been in pre-trial detention ever since. He considers himself innocent, as he told the police before his incarceration.
حطونا قعدنا 3 أيام بالتحقيق بيسألوك قال أنت ضربت مستوطن ضربت على عينه فقد عينه المستوطن من سببك قال أنت ضربت 32 سيارة مستوطنين. طبعا أنا أنكرت كل شيء هذا لأنه فيش منه الحكي، حتى أنا ما كنتش بهديك المنطقة كلها بعدك اليوم. ولما ودونا على المحكمة خلوا علينا 10 قضايا. دخلت على السجن ما كنتش أعرف حدا غير ولا عارف قديش بدي انحكم ولا عارف إيش.
Ahmed is one of 240 prisoners who Israel is willing to release in exchange for some of the Hamas hostages.
ما عرفناش احنا بقى عن الصفقة، ما عرفناش ولا شيء، بس عرفنا لما كانوا يودوا الأسرى ياخدوهم كانوا احنا كنا مفكرين انه يوديهم يا تحقيق يا محكمة يا من سجن لسجن. لما دخلت على الدار وحضنت امي كنت كتير مبسوط مكيف، يعني انه بعد كل هالعذاب بالاخير طلع فايدة.
As the truce is extended, another 17 Israeli hostages are set to be released. Liat is taken to Al Nasser Hospital in southern Gaza.
At some point during the day, I was the only Israeli person in the hospital. That was the scariest time of the whole time that I was there. They took me to a house where all the other people that were being released that day were waiting, and then they transferred us from there to the Red Cross.
Liat is driven from Khan Yunis to the Rafa border crossing with Egypt and handed over to Red Cross personnel.
Good luck, goodbye. Take care, good luck.
Itai, go happy? Okay.
Moran, too, is among the lucky hostages today.
I was smiling, I was saying thank yous, and I remember that when nobody heard, I said to the friend next to me, it's like, do not cry now. In an hour, we're gonna be in Israel, and you can cry and scream as much as you want. Not now. Be happy, because we have to leave this place with a good story. Nobody with a bad story will leave this place.
Almost 2 months after being taken hostage, Liat is reunited with her children and her relatives. But 24 hours after the release, she receives the news that her husband Aviv was one of at least 20 near Oz residents killed on the 7th of October.
His body was taken to the Gaza Strip. That's why at first he was thought to be kidnapped. I think for my family, it just worked out the best this way, that I was around, that I had a chance to tell the kids. And also for me that it happened right away, that I didn't have like a long period of time where I was hopeful and And I thought that maybe he was alive. Like within 24 hours, my new reality became apparent to me.
By the 30th of November 2023, 105 hostages and 240 Palestinian prisoners have been released. But the ceasefire ends with both sides accusing each other of breaches and negotiations breaking down. Gazan civilians continue dying as Israel seeks to eradicate Hamas. An aim that increasingly looks distinctly at odds with its other goal, of retrieving the remaining hostages. Edith hasn't had any sign of life from her son Alon, a gifted pianist, since he was abducted. She organizes a concert in Zikim, a village near the border with Gaza. One of Alon's favorite bands is performing.
It was very important for me to go as close as I could to the Gaza Strip, where maybe he could hear the music. We had these big speakers, like 25 meters up the ground, and there were like 3 of them or 4 of them. And then there were live music for about an hour.
The music can be heard almost 3.5 kilometers inside Gaza.
Alon loves music. I want him to know that I'm thinking about him, that we are thinking about him, that we as a community, all of his family's friends, think about him every day, every single second of the day.
As the months go by without any deal, Israeli attempts to free hostages become increasingly desperate. During ground operations, dozens of soldiers and a few hostages are reported killed in friendly fire incidents. In February 2024, the Israeli army, the IDF, stormed the maternity unit of Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis, southern Gaza, looking for the bodies of hostages. Hospital staff panic as parts of the building are damaged and the power is cut off. 5 patients die. By the time the Israeli army leaves Khan Yunis in April, Nasser Hospital, one of Gaza's last remaining ones, has ceased to function. The IDF leave empty-handed.
When I think about the situation now, I'm really, really happy that I was released when I was, but there's also a tremendous amount of guilt for those who are still alive. The situation is awful. I'm furious. This situation couldn't have been handled worse. What Israel has been doing up until now doesn't work. We can't continue living like this. I mean, it's just not possible.
But attempts by Israelis to put pressure on their government do not seem to be working. Prime Minister Netanyahu is determined to finish the job in Gaza, to make sure Hamas is unable to ever launch an attack on Israel again, and to target its leaders and destroy the tunnel network. Israel sets its sight on the south of the Gaza Strip, where 1.7 million displaced people have taken shelter. Hamas is ready for peace, but on its terms, says its spokesman.
وانت بتعرفي انه احنا حريصين على اطلاق سراح الاسرى، ولكن في اطار عمليه تبادل بتتم، وهي جزء من صفقه لانهاء الحرب بشكل كامل. لكن نتنياهو وحكومته المتطرفه رفضوا وذهبوا الى رفح بعمليه عسكريه.
A compromise between Israel and Hamas seems unattainable. On the 24th of May 2024, Ricardo receives the news that Shani's body is among 3 recovered from a tunnel in Rafa. The family can finally put her to rest.
Es war wirklich schrecklich. Ich weiß nicht, wie die Geiselnfamilien das durchstehen. Das macht ja geistig und körperlich einen total kaputt. Wenigstens haben wir die Möglichkeit, um sie zu trauern und einen Abschluss zu finden.
Early in the morning on the 8th of June 2024, the Israeli army move in on Rafa in what is to be their 3rd known hostage rescue mission. The IDF launch an attack from air, sea and ground. They rescue 4 Israeli hostages. The last one to come aboard is Noah Argamani, who had been held in captivity with Moran. 274 Palestinians seeking refuge in the nearby camp die, including women and children. At least 698 additional people are injured. Hamas claims that a further 3 Israeli hostages died in the rescue operation. It's the highest civilian casualty toll in an IDF operation to free hostages. Israel rejoices as Noah is reunited with her family. But Moran knows the toll captivity takes on those who are now free.
Obviously, none of us are the same. If somebody will look carefully, you'll see that our eyes changed, that we see things differently. It has a positive effect, though. I appreciate the most basic things that a person can experience. To be able to get up in the morning, to be able to open the door, to step on the grass, to look up in the sky, to see the sun. Appreciate life.
In the meantime, Ahmed represents the next generation of Palestinians growing up in danger of being radicalized. He has been barred from attending school by the Israeli authorities. His dream of becoming a lawyer seems unattainable now, and he is angry.
اليهود حاضنها بأوطاننا إحنا وعد مع ألمانيا طلعتهم من بلادهم صاروا يستوطنوا علينا ويتمردوا علينا عبين ما صار هيك الاحتلال فإحنا ما عندناش مشكلة بين الأدينة بس معنا مشكلة مع الاحتلال.
Throughout the crisis, scores of Israeli hostages remained in captivity. Israel maintained that it was committed to freeing them. But it also vowed to destroy Hamas's military capability and organizational structure. As time passed, it became clear that one of these goals would have to give if stability was to be achieved between Israel and Hamas, in a conflict that was shattering the lives of the people of Gaza. Gaza in 2024. Since the Hamas terrorist attack on Israel on October the 7th, the Gaza Strip has been under Israeli attack, from the air and on the ground.
You're only thinking about two things. One, bring back the hostages. Two is eliminate Hamas. Get rid of them.
Tens of thousands of civilians have died.
I lost 20 my family members. To this moment, my family is still under Hyderabad.
Half of Gaza's buildings have been destroyed. Almost 2 million people have been displaced.
There's no time for grieving. The luxury of grieving is not an option.
Yet Hamas remains intact and fights back from a vast network of tunnels below the ground.
لأنه فوق الأرض هو ويسيطر، أما تحت الأرض لا يستطيع أن يفعل شيئا، لذلك حفرنا الأنفاق.
These are the accounts of people who live under the shadow of October the 7th. Gaza on the 7th of October, 2023. Thousands of Gazans celebrate only hours after the Hamas terrorist organization launched its audacious and murderous attack on Israel. For Hamas's leadership, it's a huge success. Israel is in complete shock. 1,200 people are dead. 250 have been taken hostage and are incarcerated somewhere deep inside Gaza. It's a major humiliation for Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's controversial right-wing prime minister, who promised security to the electorate. He is determined to deliver the utmost punishment to Hamas and its supporters.
אנחנו במלחמה ואנחנו ננצח בה.
Events are closely watched across the Middle East, including Saudi Arabia, the guardian of Mecca, Islam's holiest site. By coincidence, a family of Gazans is on a visit here. Sharouk Al-Aila and her husband Roshdi are freelance journalists. They're here with their little daughter, Dania.
كانت مفروض تكون رحلة رائعة صراحة وخططنا لها في رحلة كان المفروض أنها تستمر شهر ونص بكير الصبح. زوجي رشدي كان بقول لي قومي يعني كان عم بصحيني بقول لي قومي اصحي شوفي شو بصير بغزة.
The news covers only one story: the Hamas attack on Israel.
كان بيقول لي هاي يعني رح تيجي وراها حرب طويلة فلازم نلحق نروح على غزة.
The Hamas massacre reverberates around the world. In New York City, 33-year-old Israeli army reservist and tech graduate Noy Lieb is out celebrating a Jewish holiday.
I'm walking back on Friday night at around midnight, and I get this text message saying that something's going on in Israel. There's some terrorists who have infiltrated into Israel. I'm like, it's fine, you know, we've dealt with this before. But, you know, an hour later, I see that it's more serious, and I'm calling my dad, who's in Israel, and I say, you know, Dad, I'm coming to Israel, there's going to be a war.
One of almost 500,000 Israeli reservists, Noy gets on a plane and heads back to Israel. Noy reports to his unit and prepares for action. For almost 2 decades, Israel has operated on the principle that any location used to attack Israel should be flattened in response. 2 days after the Hamas attack, Israel's defense minister, Yoav Gallant, spells out what lies ahead for Gaza.
אנחנו מטילים מצור מוחלט על העיר עזה. אין חשמל, אין מזון, אין מים, אין דלק. הכל סגור. אנחנו נלחמים בחיות אדם ואנחנו נוהגים בהתאם.
The same day, Shruk and her husband Roshdi travel through Egypt towards Gaza, which had recently experienced an economic upturn.
يعني خصوصاً آخر فترة في قطاع غزة كان في ازدهار اقتصادي واضح. كان في كتير محلات، كتير مشاريع صغيرة خاصة عم تطلع على السطح. غزة جداً بسيطة، سهلة للمعيشة، سهلة تقدر تمشي. ما في شيء بيسوى، ما في شيء بيعادل بحر قطاع غزة.
But the territory has one major drawback. Since 2006, the Gaza Strip has been run by Hamas, a terrorist organization that is dedicated to the destruction of Israel. Because of Hamas, the borders to Israel remain closed. The only access point to Gaza is in the south and controlled jointly by Egypt and Israel.
دحر الاحتلال بالكامل وإنهاء الكيان الصهيوني وإقامة دولتنا الفلسطينية المستقلة وعاصمتها القدس على كامل أرضنا فلسطين. هاي قناعات حماس.
Listen to the Iranians the way they speak. It's about the creation of Palestine. It's about the destruction of Israel. So as long
One person who is well aware of Hamas's intentions is Boaz Bismuth, Israeli MP and a close ally of Prime Minister Netanyahu.
The problem is not only Hamas, everybody is watching in the region. Now, we have two options: Israel winning and staying Israel, a strong country, Israel not winning, then it's losing and then becoming another country.
Within hours of the Hamas attack, Israel starts to bombard Gaza. It targets suspected Hamas strongholds across the territory. In the north of Gaza, the Sheikh Zayed township is located 1 kilometer from the Israeli border. According to the Israeli army, this up-and-coming neighborhood is home to senior Hamas commanders and military storage facilities. Hala Shihada, mother of 10-year-old daughter Tulin, has lived in this neighborhood for the last 18 years. On the 14th of October, Hala's cherished home is hit by an Israeli missile.
كان لما هربنا كان في مجزرة وطلعنا نجري في الشارع، اكتشفت ان انا نسيت امي. كنت خايفة ارجع اجيب بنت امي لانه بنتي معي والقصف يعني كثير كان شديد. كان في جيراننا جابوها، ماسكها كان الشاب. كان في بنزين، فالبنزين كب على امي، كله نزل على امي وعواعيها، فكانت امي جياني وصرنا نمشي في الشارع بدي بس أبعدها عن القصف عشان ما يجيش فضية عليها وهي البنزين في أوعيها وإنه أنا أفقد أمي. فهذا كان أكثر موقف أنا بحبش أتذكره حتى، يعني هذا من الشغلات اللي صعبة.
Hala returns to the flat a few days later.
إيش تريد؟ إيش؟ مش أنا حكيت لك يا ماما أنها انقصفت؟ معلش نعمل أحلى منها يا توتا.
شوفي مش كيف
تولين مش احنا اتفقنا حنعمل واحدة أحلى منها؟ لف علي أشوفك، مش حكينا حنعمل واحدة أحلى منها؟
حنجيب الكلام نفسه بالصبح.
أحلى منه بدي أعمل لك.
بدي أرجع ألعب ألعابي من أول وجديد.
بجيب لك أحلى ألعاب.
Since the 7th of October 2023, on a daily basis, buildings in Gaza's residential areas have been taking hits by Israeli bombs and artillery. One reason for this is what is hidden below them. Over years, Hamas has dug a sophisticated tunnel network stretching hundreds of kilometers below the streets and buildings of the Gaza Strip. Entrance shafts are hidden among multi-story buildings, between sand dunes or inside private homes.
الأنفاق مشغولة بطريقة مهندسين عقول مرتبة عملتها بأعماق مختلفة متداخلة ببعضها من الشمال إلى الجنوب ومن الشرق إلى الغرب. أما باقي الأنفاق لم يستطع القضاء عليها لأنه لا يعرف عنها شيئا. وهذا جزء من التحضير للعملية اللي إحنا كنا عم نحضر له من سنوات.
Israelis have nicknamed the tunnels the Gaza Metro. Hamza al-Hawidi has first-hand knowledge of the Gaza situation. He left the Strip in the summer of 2023 after Hamas tortured him for participating in public protests against its dictatorial rule. As a Gaza native, he's seen some tunnels himself.
The idea behind the tunnels in Gaza was applied even before the Israeli withdrawal from the Gaza Strip. The people who were working in these tunnels were, most of them were normal people, civilians who wanted to get the pay because Hamas were paying like $200 a day, so it was a big money for the Gazans. Everyone wanted to participate in it.
Hamas uses the tunnels to transport food, medicines, and weapons. The tunnels also allow Hamas leaders to move around safely. They're used for weapon storage and to launch missiles against Israeli targets. On the 13th of October, the Israeli army gives 24 hours notice to 1.1 million Gazans to evacuate the north. Within 2.5 weeks, almost 1 million Gazans will pack up and flee to the south. In Gaza City, journalist couple Shrouk Al-Aila and her husband Rojdi Sarraj are back from Mecca to cover events in Gaza for Arab and Western media organizations. They too receive the Israeli order to evacuate, announced via loudspeaker, leaflets, and text messages. The young couple will have none of it.
رفضنا جميعا المغادرة. والد رشدي، والدته، إخوانه، رشدي، جميعنا رفضنا المغادرة. وأنه نحن أصحاب الأرض ومش لازم نتماشى مع أوامر الجيش، فقررنا عدم المغادرة.
Rojdi continues his work as a freelance journalist.
There is no safe place in Gaza at all. They still attack everything in Gaza.
no water, no fuel, no electricity for the 11th day of the aggression.
Hala and her daughter have also decided to remain in the north of Gaza. They've taken shelter in Hala's old school, now a refugee camp for 600 people.
روتين قاتل وانت بتعيش في دائرة مغلقة وبتدور في نفس المكان. درست فيها الابتدائي، الإعدادي ومرحلة الثانوية كمان. صرت اليوم بنام فيها وبشتغل كل شغلي فيها. الحياة اختلفت معنا كلياً، لا أدعو للاستسلام ولا للهزيمة، بس تعايشنا.
Two weeks into the war, Shrouk is in her apartment and prepares breakfast for her family.
الساعة 11 رشدي زوجي كان عم بجهز نفسه لحتى يغادر للعمل. صار انفجار جدا قريب، انفجارين. فجأة كل شيء صار رمادي، كل شيء. فكنت عم دور على رشدي. بعد بشوي حسيت في تقل يعني عند رجلي. حاولت هيك أشوف فكان رشدي. كان لساته عايش، عم بتنفس بشكل صعب، كان عم بيعمل gasping.
Shrouk manages to get hold of a car and rushes Rujdi to a nearby hospital.
كان عنده هنا في فتحة في رأسه، هنا تماماً تقريباً سنتي أو سنتي ونص. وده رشدي في الطوارئ لأنه ما كان في مجال أصلاً إنه يفوت إلى العمليات. وإنه رشدي يعني استشهد.
Since the beginning of the war, Gaza's hospitals have been overwhelmed. Izzadin Lulu is a fifth-year medical student who suddenly finds himself working as a full-time doctor.
I have been volunteering at the Gaza hospitals since October 2023. I have experienced and lived things that no one can imagine. We work 24 hours per day with very little time for sleep. And we are doing the work supposed to be a professional and experienced doctor.
Dr. Hassan Al-Shire has been an anaesthetist in Gaza for over 21 years. He has also never seen anything like this before.
احنا رأينا أو قمنا ببتر أيدي وأرجل لأطفال لا تتجاوز أعمارهم 6 شهور. والله يا أخي والله أنا قمت بتخدير أطفال طفلة لا يتجاوز عمر الشهرين وتم بتر إيدها ورجلها. بصراحة هذه المناظر كانت المناظر الأسوأ اللي احنا شفناها في الحرب.
On the 27th of October, almost 3 weeks into the war, Israel sends ground troops into Gaza. The army pushes into the north, supported by helicopters, drones, tanks, and armored vehicles. Among them, Noy Lieb and his elite squad of soldiers.
We were the first reserve duty unit to go into Gaza, so no one was in front of us. We were on the front lines. You're only thinking about 2 things. Number 1 is to go and find the hostages, bring them back, and number 2 is to eliminate Hamas. Get rid of them. But we are going into a war zone with terrorists who hide in tunnels. They're not stupid. Hamas is very smart. We're going on their turf.
It is part of Hamas's tactics to hide amongst civilians and use them as human shields. Because Hamas rules with fear, most Gazans won't publicly criticize the regime. Now based in Germany, Hamza al-Hawidi feels at liberty to speak.
I think that the majority in the Gazans recognize the same fact that we are totally upset because Hamas is hiding amongst us. I can show you thousands of posts of Gazans talking about the same points, why they are hiding behind us.
Hamas will sometimes have their uniforms, but a lot of the times they'll dress up in civilian clothes. So it's hard to differentiate who's a civilian and who's a terrorist.
Noy's team is specially trained to operate in civilian spaces.
We had to sometimes wait to get shot at to understand where the terrorists are coming from. They wait for you, and it takes them maybe 10 seconds, even less, to come out from the tunnel, take an RPG, shoot it, and go back down, and already be on the other side of the tunnel.
The IDF would defeat Hamas like in 2 weeks if there was no tunnels and if they were not hiding behind the civilians. These tunnels are necessary for Hamas.
No army has really fought with tunnels. Yeah, you have a few wars where there were tunnels here and there, but not like this, so it's brand new. We would uncover new tunnels all the time, but you would uncover one tunnel and there'd be 5 more.
According to the Israeli army, Hamas have positioned themselves in and below hospitals, mosques, and schools.
Another day, another school that Hamas uses to conduct terror attacks out of.
We entered a class, and it was an English class. And on the chalkboard, it said October 5th, 2023. And I just paused, and I'm like, do the students that were studying here on October 5th, do they know that their school was being used by terrorists to fight against the IDF?
On the 5th of October, nobody could have imagined the disaster that would befall the region 2 days later. Killing 1,200 people and taking more than 250 hostages, Hamas terrorists would unleash a devastating firestorm as Israel seeks to destroy Hamas in revenge. It now threatens to engulf the whole of Gaza, including the territory's hospitals. With almost 700 beds, the Al-Shifa hospital is the largest medical complex in Gaza. The Israeli army has information that a vast network of Hamas tunnels exists below the hospital. It's an open secret among Gazans that the Al-Shifa is used as a Hamas outpost.
My house in Gaza was close to a Shifa hospital. We knew for sure that Hamas was hiding in this hospital. This is their strategy because they know if they hide inside the hospital, Israel wouldn't be able to target the hospital itself because there would be high civilian casualties.
Despite this, the Israeli army encircles the hospital to flush out suspected Hamas terrorists. Yet inside the overcrowded Al-Shifa, there are around 1,500 patients and medical staff at the time, including medical student Izzadin Lulu and Dr. Hassan.
في الصباح استيقظنا وإذ نفاجأ إنه إحنا محاصرين من جميع الجهات بدبابات إسرائيلية ومجنزرات وجرافات وقناصين على العمارات المحيطة فينا. إحنا شفنا فتحات في العمارات المحيطة في المجمع من جميع الاتجاهات.
Despite the siege, Al-Shifa's medical staff try to treat patients around the clock.
It turned my life 180 degrees. For one whole week, there was no electricity, telecommunication, or Wi-Fi. And the snipers were targeting people in the hollows of the hospital. In the meantime, the oxygen concentrators had started to shut down, and 8 patients in the ICU just died before my eyes.
The situation inside the hospital and the hospital compound is getting desperate.
ما يقارب من 200 جثة في مجمع الشفاء الطبي. أنا رأيت بعيني صراحة كلاب تأكل من هذه الجثث. نحن بعض الزملاء بفحر قبور في داخل المجمع ودفنا ما يقارب 80 جثة.
After a week-long siege, the Israeli army moves right inside the Al-Shifa hospital compound.
طردنا بالقوة يوم 18/11 تحت فوهات البنادق والدبابات الإسرائيلية التي كانت تحيط بمجمع الشفاء الطبي.
I am in the Shifa hospital. As you can see from the sign behind me, our troops opened this.
Inside the hospital, Israeli troops search for weapons.
This is what they found.
This footage was filmed by the Israeli army to prove to the world that Hamas uses hospitals to hide.
There are grenades in here, of course uniformed, and all of this was hidden very conveniently, secretly behind the MRI machine.
The Israeli army says that they uncovered tunnels below, which are connected to surrounding buildings.
We had to remove the floor and understand these tunnel shafts. One direction goes to the Shifa hospital, other directions go to different location using the safe haven, the human shield of the hospital.
During his work at the besieged hospital, Izzeddin receives shattering news.
At 9 o'clock at night, Dr. Fadl Naeem from Al Mamadani Hospital called me and told me we are sorry for the loss of your relatives as a target bomb attack on my home. At that time, the world fell on me. I couldn't believe what they were telling me.
A rocket has hit his family home with such force that it was impossible to rescue his loved ones from the rubble.
They heard cries for help from under the rubble from some of my family members, and told me if they had equipments that were destroyed, I probably would have had at least a few surviving family members. My father, my uncles, my brothers, my nephews, my grandmother and my pregnant sister-in-law, they had gone to paradise.
Izzeddin's mother is the only survivor of this tragedy. In view of the many civilian deaths in Gaza, international pressure is mounting on the Israeli government to stop the fighting. War crimes proceedings are about to begin at the International Criminal Court in The Hague, not just against the leaders of Hamas, but also against the Israeli Prime Minister.
They have active investigations ongoing in relation to the crimes allegedly committed in Israel on the 7th of October, and also in relation to Gaza and the West Bank, and our jurisdiction goes back to 2014.
The Israeli government takes a very different line.
מי שמעז להאשים את חיילינו בפשעי מלחמה הם אנושים חדורי צביעות ושקר, שאין בהם אפילו טיפת מוסר אחת. צה"ל הוא הצבא המוסרי ביותר בעולם.
On the 24th of November 2023, Hamas and Israel agree on a 4-day ceasefire. The focus of the ceasefire are the 250 people who were taken hostage in Israel on October the 7th. Benjamin Netanyahu's government is under intense pressure in Israel to bring the hostages back home. He releases 240 Palestinian prisoners held in Israeli jails in exchange for 60 hostages held by Hamas. But the fighting soon continues, and the Israeli army advances in the north. But Hamas keeps attacking from its tunnels and continues to hide among the population. It has become a deadly game of cat and mouse, with bystanding civilians as casualties. To escape the war zone, many people have moved to so-called humanitarian safe zones in the south, including the recently widowed Shruk al-Aila and her daughter Dania.
كنت أفكر طفلتي التي فقدت والدها في هذه الحرب كيف ستتحمل فقدان أمها أيضاً.
Mother and daughter arrive in Rafa, which before the war had a population of 270,000 people. By December 2023, it has grown to over 1.4 million.
يعني أذكر عندما كنا في رفح كنا ننام 17 شخصاً في غرفة واحدة فوق بعض. الذهاب إلى الحمام مأساة، توفير المياه مأساة، توفير مياه الشرب مأساة أخرى، كذلك الأمر للنوم.
There is also an increasing shortage of food. Prices have skyrocketed inside Gaza, but with no paid employment, most people are unable to afford their daily rations.
يعني لا أذكر أن جاء وقت كانت به المواد التموينية ممتلئة في الأسواق وبسعر مناسب لل.
In February 2024, there are warnings that Gaza faces a famine. One of those trying to get humanitarian aid supplies into the territory is aid charity founder Arwa Damon. Arwa visits Gaza in March 2024.
There's not enough food. There's not enough clean water. There's not enough bathrooms. There's not enough medication. And as you watch the faces coming towards you, you realize that it's almost as if you're staring at the walking dead.
For decades, Gaza has been dependent on international aid deliveries, which under Egyptian-Israeli agreements have to be checked at the Kerem Shalom post before entering at the Rafa crossing. Most aid was distributed via the UN's relief agency, UNRWA, which Israel claims is infiltrated by Hamas. Israel has therefore increased its border controls, with aid trucks queuing for weeks before entering Gaza from Egypt, including trucks delivering aid for Arwa Damon's charity.
Israel says it allows X number of trucks. That's just the number that enters into the search. So of this number of trucks, X amount are not permitted in, for whatever reason. Then the trucks that actually cross in and go through the search need to get offloaded to Gazan trucks. Gaza only has 40 to 60 trucks available at any given time because of the lack of fuel, because of tires that have been blown out, because of engines that are breaking down, and because there's no way to get spare parts and to fix any of this.
Before the 7th of October, about 500 trucks used to enter Gaza on a daily basis. In March 2024, no more than 150 trucks entered daily via Rafa. The Israeli government says that there is no reliable partner in the distribution of aid in Gaza, and that aid is often hijacked by Hamas.
Everything is controlled by Hamas. When food comes inside, Hamas takes over and then sells it either in the black market, gives it to his own people. So I need to find people who will distribute. In order to be able to change the functioning of Gaza, you need to expel Hamas.
Of course, a certain portion of what comes in ends up with nefarious actors. Does this somehow mean that Hamas is stealing all of the aid? Absolutely not. And the repetition of that line over and over and over again is just, it's cruel.
Meanwhile, the death toll among Gazans is rising. Tens of thousands, according to the Hamas-run health ministry. Behind the scenes, international efforts are being made to negotiate a ceasefire, but to no avail. The fight between Israel and Hamas continues.
The IDF was taking more control of the north. It was much more free. And I wasn't as worried about each step. I was still worried, don't get me wrong. Hamas was still there hiding, attacking us. But as we moved more south, the northern part of Gaza was more safe.
In May 2024, the International Criminal Court in The Hague issues arrest warrants for the leaders of Hamas and for Benjamin Netanyahu for committing war crimes. But the fighting continues. It now extends to the south, including the humanitarian safe zones that the people from northern Gaza were ordered to evacuate to.
Once the IDF issues the evacuation orders to the civilians, it does that publicly. And for sure Hamas knows about these evacuation orders. So they can move with the civilians to the new place. And they continue hiding from one place to another, which makes it hard for both the civilians in Gaza and the IDF to fight against Hamas.
It's been 6 months since Shrouk settled near the safe zone of Rafa, near the Egyptian border. She's an English speaker and occasionally records her thoughts.
Today is 100 something. I don't actually remember what is it. And actually not interested in counting because it feels like it's useless.
Then on the 5th of May, Israel launches a major military offensive against Hamas in Rafah and orders civilians to leave the area.
So once again, getting siblings for the 5th time. Packing our stuff.
اللي جاي وصلوا.
Shrouk and her daughter moved to the city of Deir al-Bala in the center of Gaza. With no buildings available, she has to find a tent to live in.
للأسف ما كان في عنا خيارات إلا إنه نغادر. وهذه كانت أول مرة نجرب حياة الخيم. شكل الخيمة من برا شكله حلو وكامبينج وكيوت بس لساعتين 3 فقط لا غير. مو لأنك تعيش فيها أشهر وأشهر. حرارة جدا عالية. الخيم بتخزن حرارة الشمس جوات الخيمة. فالأمر جدا صعب جدا يعني.
For the moment, Shrouk may be safe from bombardment. But in Gaza, this can change at any moment. Whenever possible, Shrouk continues to work as a freelance journalist. On the 8th of June, she's in a taxi and on her way to an assignment in the Nusayrat refugee camp, when war catches up with her again.
كل شيء انقلب في لحظة. بطلع من شباك السيارة شفت 4 طائرات هليكوبتر بتطخ رصاص تطير بمستوى منخفض. شعرت جدا بالخوف. المدفعيات كانت تطلق قذائف بشكل عشوائي وغير متوقف.
Shrouk has stumbled into a high-profile Israeli operation to rescue a group of hostages held by Hamas.
أما الطائرات الحربية طائرات F-16 وغيرهم كانوا عم بيطلقوا صواريخ أيضاً بشكل عشوائي. للحظة شعرت إنه من غير الصائب هو الاستمرار في هذه المهمة. تم قصف بصاروخ حربي المنزل الملاصق لنا. الركام تنزل على السيارة. كان شيء جدا مرعب. شعور جدا مؤذي.
During the Israeli operation, 4 hostages are rescued after 8 months of captivity. According to the Hamas-run health ministry, 270 Gazans are killed in the process. Yet Israel's government has little appetite for peace, so long as hostages remain in captivity and Hamas continues to operate in Gaza.
We're told that it's going to be long, not only by the politicians, by the army. Why is it going to be long? There's a logic for that. It's Gaza against terrorists. They don't respect not only the lives of my citizens, they don't respect the lives of their own. You've got the tunnels, terrorists, hostages.
القضاء على حماس، قتل المقاتلين، تدمير الأنفاق، إطلاق سراح الأسرى الإسرائيليين، القضاء على حكم حماس في غزة. لم يحقق لليوم بعد مرور 8 أشهر أي هدف من هذه الأهداف.
I don't like putting on uniform. I don't like holding a gun. I wish for the day that I can just walk peacefully and not have to worry about a potential threat around me. I wish. But you can't make peace with terrorists.
حياة النزوح جدا صعبة، جدا مرهقة. خسارة رشدي يعني خلينا أقول إنه أنا في مرحلة تخدر، كونه أنا في مكان ليس مكاني. لم يكن هناك مساحة كافية للحزن. The luxury of grieving is not an option. There is no time for grieving. كونه إنه أنت بتقضي يومك وأنت فقط بتحاول تعيش. بشعرك إنك أنت ما رح تكمل تعيش. حجار، هذا بيتنا. بعرف بيتنا لو كان بين مليون حجر وحجر، بيتنا هذا. أسوأ تجربة ممكن الإنسان يحياها في حياته يكون واقف قدام بيته المدمر. والله أحلام هالة قبل 7 أكتوبر كانت كتير. الآن حلمي خلص الحرب بس، وأعيش مرتاحة أنا وبنتي ومش خايفة من الموت.
By December 2024, the death toll in Gaza has reached over 45,000 people, according to the Hamas-run health ministry. The majority of the dead are reportedly women and children. Almost 2 million Gazans are displaced. Over a year into the war, more than 100 Israeli hostages still remain in Gaza, their fate unknown.
Palestinians, the Israelis, we are both tired from this conflict. Talking about peace is a long way now, but I think what matters now is to stop the current war, at least, and release the hostages. Currently, the people in Gaza are totally desperate. They suffered enough, they have no hope, and they only want an opportunity to survive this.
Already, the Hamas raid on October the 7th, the ensuing hostage crisis, and the war in Gaza have fundamentally changed the political landscape of the Middle East. Whether regional warfare will be followed by a lasting peace or by a new round of violence, only the future can tell.